now that we have defined the types of goods and gave a brief example, let's look at few more examples of the typology of goods. So let's start with private goods. So you have to now go back and remember what this means in terms of subtractability and excludability. One can restrict the use of goods of the private good easily because it's private good, and when that good is in use, someone else cannot use it. For example, a mobile phone or a car is a private good. You buy it, you own it, although now there is a lot of information on exactly how Apple actually controls your iPhone even after you buy it. Okay, this is their business model, and we fall for it because it's a good phone, and there is always concern that maybe they are overreaching a little bit, which they are. You can restrict the use of these goods by having password protection or a key. If somebody else takes the private good, you can go to the police and report a theft. That's what a private good means. It's subtractable but also excludable. If you are driving your car, no one else can drive it. If you are making a call on your mobile phone, others cannot use it during your call. Hence, private goods are the typical products we own as an individual. So that descriptor private good makes complete sense. Can you think of examples of private services? Obviously, shoe shine is one. When you're using the person, the kid, for shining your shoes, nobody else can use his time and they have to wait, and you pay for the service, so it's private in that sense. But it's not private in the sense that somebody else cannot use this person. So you can think of then a driver who's only working for you and not anybody else. So that's a private service. It's excludable, right? The second type is club goods. Compared to private goods, the use of club goods by one person does not affect the use by others. That's what clubbing of goods means. Examples of these so-called club goods are satellite television, cinemas, and toll roads. So you pay a toll, you can use it, but it's a club good, so you can only get in by paying. Similarly, you can buy a ticket and go see the cinema, or satellite television is got a subscription fee as well. Access is restricted to members of the club. That's where the idea of club goods comes in. So it's excludable but not subtractable, but those members can consume the same products, so it's not subtractable in that sense. For toll roads, it means that you pay a fee to use the road, and moviegoers pay a price for a ticket to watch a movie during a showing, and you're watching with many others, or you are streaming it and paying for yourself. Okay. The provision of goods is more difficult with those for which it is a challenge. It is challenging to exclude consumers. Public goods, open source software like Wikipedia or clean air, can be used by everybody, and used by some does not reduce the ability of others to use it. I can hear a lot of noise, but in the recording it seems okay, so let me check again. The challenge associated with providing public goods is having a sufficient number of people to invest in their provision. So if you're a Netflix, you need enough subscribers to remain economically profitable and provide the services, because you're producing shows, you're paying the artists to produce the shows, the director, etc., and you're selling it to your subscribers. So there is a sufficient number of people that need to invest. There is a temptation to free ride on the contributions of others. So this doesn't apply to Netflix, even though Netflix has found that people subscribe and then share the password. So many people are free riding, and they are finding ways to prevent that from happening. Due to the potential for free riding, there might be an underinvestment in public goods. Now you get the idea. Consider for a moment whether the roads in your city are in good conditions, or are there enough of them? Are there enough parks and open spaces? So some sort of a common pool of funding is used to create these. So let's say it comes from your tax money. Then are you a taxpayer, or are you cheating on your taxes, or are you paying as little as possible? So even if you're paying legally as little as possible, like our ex-president did in the US, you can be, going by the written word of the law, but might not the spirit of the law in terms of using common goods here, the public goods. The final, so here is access to toll roads restricted to those who are willing to pay a fee, and the fee is supposed to give you access, reduce the traffic in some cases, but the fee also goes to maintaining the road and so on and so forth. At least that's the model they're trying to introduce in India, already been introduced. Private companies own the road, they charge you a toll to maintain that road for you. The final example is a common pool resource such as a lake, an ocean, an irrigation system, a fishing ground, a forest, the internet, or the stratosphere. These are natural or constructed resources from which it is difficult to exclude or limit users once the resource is provided by nature or produced by humans. One person's consumption of resource units such as water, fish, or trees removes those units from what is available to others. Right? Thus, the trees or fish harvested by one user are no longer available for others, so it's subtractable, but it's not excludable. The internet has a limited capacity to move all the information around. Bandwidth that is used by some to watch movies may cause delay in the sending of email by others. You can see the fluctuation in the speed sometimes during the day, especially if you go to a place like Starbucks, let's say. The many satellites required for communication, along with space trash from the past, is causing problems for new operations in space. So it's a common pool resource, and there is some subtractability, or there is you cannot exclude, but there is subtractability in it, right? For example, if rich countries or countries that have the space technology keep launching as many satellites as they want, that actually subtracts the space for the countries that are still developing and someday may want to have their own satellites, right? So it's a common pool resource which is subtractable. The iPhone itself is a private good, so now we have to understand the context of what we mean all these, the context in which the good itself is working. It's not always clear that it's an independently definable, subtractable, excludable, non-subtractable, non-excludable, private club, common pool, and so on. iPhone itself is a private good. It's useless, however, without a network. The contract you have with the telephone company enables you to use their infrastructure, which is a club good. So you pay and you become a member and you get to use it, and it's not it can be subtractable. To make calls, many apps can be downloaded for free and used on the iPhone. So you pay for the iPhone, and then the app developers makes money somehow by letting you use the app, or there are paid and unpaid versions of the app. The paid version will give you, ad-free time and additional benefits and so on. The ecology of free apps really are pure public goods since they are available without restriction, at least if you have the proper technology to run it. Finally, if many people use their iPhone to watch movies, the wireless bandwidth gets crowded. This is exactly like cars overcrowding a road. So information highway has users. If too many users get on, then you cause congestion. Information bits crowd fiber optic and copper cables. The so-called bandwidth is a common pool resource that is made available by telecommunication infrastructure, and if too many people start downloading movies, the available bandwidth is completely consumed and the wireless signal is not available for anyone else. So here is the smartphone, and here is a metaphor on how congestion happens. Rush hour in traffic. If these idiots would just take the bus, I could be home by now, and every driver is thinking that as they're sitting in this parking lot of a traffic jam. And obviously not everybody is making the choice based on what's best for everybody. They are making a choice because they like the privacy of the car, they can afford the gas, they can, they like driving, and they don't like public transportation. The public transportation is not convenient, or it's a status issue, and so on and so forth. So this is the use of common good or a common pool resource, but how people use it in the action arena, in this action situation, determines the outcome, right? So this is what we will be dealing with. Let me come back and conclude the chapter with one more podcast, because this one is already 10 minutes long. Just try to keep it reasonably long, because there are some ideas about how long the attention span typically tends to be 7 to 10 minutes. Sometimes I have longer podcasts, as this one is getting as I keep talking. The other thing is, as I sit and face the window, I like to look at the lake in front of me as I'm talking sometimes, but that gets light in my glasses, which is not considered good practice by the purists of podcasts and recordings. So I turned it a little bit to reduce the light. The first two podcasts of this chapter have a lot of light in my glasses, but I'm sure you're paying attention to the content and not these fancy things. Okay, let me leave it here.